There is a shortage of Finnish purple onions at Kesko and S Group supermarkets. Purple onions are currently in short supply in Finland. Naturally, individual stores still carry tiny amounts, stated Liisa Aronen, Kesko's Director of Vegetable Purchasing and Sales. In the coming days, Finnish purple onions will truly run out, stated Katarina Vikman, S Group's Sales Manager for Fruits and Vegetables. There are hardly no carrots left. The domestic carrot harvest season in the S Group store chain concluded in the middle of Wednesday. According to Vikman, we were forced to rely on imported carrots after that. Last week, Kesko stores still had some domestic carrots, but they have now sold out. Radishes are also gone, only a small amount left in small retail stores. Expect parsnips, beets, yellow onions and potatoes to follow. A shortage of tubers in stores was caused by rain and frost last fall, which made harvesting difficult. A lot of carrots were left unharvested. Output delivered to warehouses was less than usual. Growing onions and radishes has similar problems. Humidity also causes red onions to get sick during storage and cause high losses. On the other hand, we will be serving radishes, red onions, and carrots that were grown in the greenhouse with the aid of heating equipment. The price is higher because the cost of production will be more than it is outside. Carrots, onions, and radishes are now available in limited supply at the S markets and Prisma chains. The radish is already on sale at Kesko and will be available in S Group stores starting next week. Early June will see the availability of carrots. Fresh carrot seeds were sown at the end of April, and harvesting is anticipated in July. If the drought persists, the harvest will be little, predicts Virtanen. We anticipate being able to harvest the red onions in the first part of August. Traficom reports that 2 or 3 instances of GPS interference were found in Joensuu, which prevented flights from landing. According to the authorities, there was no risk to the safety of the aircraft. As the Finnair passenger plane was about to begin landing at Joensuu Airport last May, its GPS signal was interrupted. The GPS signal vanished from the aircraft, and landing maneuvers came to an end. The aircraft commander decided to safely stay a little higher at flight path altitude and wait for the GPS signal to return. Then, when the signal returned, the plane continued its normal approach. One example of an issue that has become more prevalent, particularly at tiny airports, is the Joensuu case. The airplane requires a navigation system that uses signals from satellites orbiting the Earth for initial approach. Because of the high altitude of the satellites' orbits, the signal that reaches Earth is feeble and prone to disruption. The plane will not be able to land if there is interference with the GPS signal. The head of Joensuu Air Traffic Control, Kimmo Ripati, gave the assurance that aircraft safety is not jeopardized in such a scenario. But I just want to talk in broad strokes. In order to get the aircraft out of the GPS interference range, we worked with area control to steer it in the right directions and altitudes. Mr. Ripati said the disruption ended well. All aircraft were able to land at Joensuu Airport safely in spite of the interruption. This year, airplanes have experienced a sharp rise in GPS interference. About 1,200 reports of GPS interference in air traffic were known to authorities by May, compared to roughly 240 incidents for the entire previous year. From January to May, just 2 or 3 incidents at Joensuu Airport were reported to the authorities. In the event of a GPS malfunction, there is always a backup plan, according to Traficom Director Jari Pontinen. For instance, even in the event of GPS interruption, Kuopio Airport Air Traffic Control can direct planes to land using radar. There have been rumors that the rise in GPS interference is related to Russia. Among other places, there was GPS interference in the Kaliningrad, St. Petersburg, Pskov, Moscow, and Murmansk regions. The reason might be that, for instance, Russia is attempting to utilize satellite location and GPS jamming to shield its objectives from Ukrainian missiles and drones. Director of Traficom Jari Pontinen is hesitant to make assumptions about the cause of GPS disruptions seen in Finnish air traffic. I don't wish to assess the cause of the disturbance. He acknowledged that modern civilization might have some influence in this. You may smile when you notice the seating chart on the bathroom wall at Omnia's Tapiola School in Espoo. Who hasn't figured out how to sit on a toilet? For the fundamental transformation of our era. Over 40% of the 10,000 students who study occupational education and training each year at Omnia, the General Municipal Education Authority in the Espoo region, are immigrants. Adult basic education is organized by Omnia's Tapiola office. The restroom sign, according to Omnia Head of Department Anna Maja Iskanias, is an illustration of how to create safe environments in schools for all students. Visuals provide useful interaction. Some adult basic education students are literate in their mother tongue, such as Arabic. Many Asian immigrants have relocated to Finland in recent years, and many of them frequently use squat toilets with tiny floor holes. Toilets are therefore unfamiliar to some people. Due to immigration, Espoo's population increased last year more than any other Finnish city. Studying at Omnia serves as many foreign speakers' introduction to Finnish society. 74,000 foreign speakers, including more than 4,000 Chinese speakers, called Espoo home at the end of the previous year. Early childhood education is one of the services and activities in Espoo where the presence of immigrants is evident, according to Annukka Jamisto, Director of Services at Omnia's Immigrant Center of Expertise. The goal, according to the service manager, is to use instructions, like posting an instruction sign in the restroom, to make learning as simple as possible, that it's not always necessary to consider your options. People can concentrate on learning when instructions are straightforward, according to Jamisto. Helping immigrants find employment is the goal of the Center of Expertise for Immigrants, which collaborates with Omnia. When it comes to language support, the Center of Expertise has worked very hard. We have been discussing plain language for a while now. As a result, we now realize that we ought to pay closer attention to our words. We must be capable of an open explanation is preferable, according to Jamisto. This benefits not just non-native speakers but also those who suffer from mental illnesses. There are roughly 50 cases of vipers biting humans in Finland annually due to their extremely potent venom. Pharmacies sell packets of the medication Ampikyy and Viper, both of which are named after Finland's sole poisonous snake. Because of the name, people might assume that the medication lessens the symptoms of a viper snake bite, however studies show that the drug's active ingredient, hydrocortisone, is ineffective in treating these types of bites. Vesa Mustalami, Chief Medical Officer of the Poison Information Center, advises anyone bitten by a snake to consult a physician right away. It would be harmful if a person thought the bite was treated with over-the-counter medication and therefore did not seek timely medical attention, Mustalami stated. When these preparations were first introduced to the market over 50 years ago, there was a lack of knowledge regarding the usefulness of hydrocortisone against snake bites. A medication is difficult to remove off the market once it has been approved. Drug ads used to be examined by the Finnish Medicines Agency Fimea every 5 years, however they are no longer subject to an expiration date. Unless it is discovered that there is an obvious risk associated with drug use. Generally speaking, when consumers stop purchasing ineffective medications, the producer removes them from the market. These Viper packets, however, are a useful first aid for bee stings, thus the products will remain on the market. The best course of action is to modify the brand name of these medications and remove the warning about snakebite. The manufacturers of the medication have no intention of renaming it. They claim that the name highlights the necessity of acting quickly in the event of a hand bite. Additionally, it states on the package that this is only first aid meant to help you feel better. Furthermore, a directive is provided to obtain medical assistance. It might be challenging to judge the bite's severity, and symptoms usually appear a few hours after the attack. If the bite occurs in the head or neck region, immediate medical attention is needed. If the victim of the viper bite is younger than 15 years old, pregnant, elderly, or very sick, or if there is a severe reaction at the bite site, or if the patient exhibits general symptoms like dyspnea or regurgitation, then hospitalization is required. In the hospital, patients receive treatment with solid serum when needed, high-dose cortisone, and water. In Finland, the last recorded death from a viper bite occurred in 1998. If a viper bites, perform the following. 1. Keep the bite motionless. Keep your hands off the bite. Toxins enter the bloodstream more quickly when people move. 2. To prevent swelling, a limb that has been bitten might be splinted and kept elevated. 3. Get medical help. A medical establishment should always inspect a lice bite. Kalevi Joensuu, born in 1994, was sentenced to 9 years and 6 months in jail by the Pirkanmaa District Court for serious child rape and numerous other offences against minors. Because of the seriousness of the crime, the identity of the individual found guilty is made public. The crimes happened in Pirkanmaa and the surrounding areas of Finland in 2022 and 2023. The victims were discovered around Finland. Joensuu was found guilty on 2 charges of gravely assaulting a minor. Many sexual contacts with a very young child, a child between the ages of 10 and 11 at the time of the offense, were involved in the acts. Through social media, the man got to know the youngster. He offered the child 2 half-liter bottles of Koskenkorva wine after the act. Men were also mostly responsible for other crimes, which were primarily sexual offenses against adolescents between the ages of 10 and 15. He sent improper photos and videos to kids and contacted 13 claimants in all over sexually explicit issues. He had connected with the kids on a number of social media sites. While looking into a possible crime, police inspected the device and discovered messages on it with additional victims. Men who tried to get them to have sex by using money, cigarettes, or alcohol approached some children. The court claims that these behaviors hurt children's psychological development. The court stated that Joensuu's actions demonstrated forethought and resolve because he had been communicating with several of the plaintiffs for a considerable amount of time and had sent identical messages on multiple occasions. He acknowledged a few more offenses in court, but the court said they were only the mildest, thus the sentence was unaffected. The Court of Appeal may hear an appeal of the decision, thus it is not final. The guilty party voiced his displeasure with the decision. During the summer, e-scooter accidents are more common. The middle of summer and the final week of classes are when accidents are most likely to occur. This is in line with a poll that Tapiola Insurance carried out in May. The poll found that 44% of youths between the ages of 18 and 34 who have used an e-scooter admitted to doing so in violation of the law. Furthermore, 29% admitted to driving while intoxicated. On the other hand, a drunk driving accident may have an impact on the amount of insurance payout. According to Christian Hilgender, head of vehicle insurance at Tapiola Insurance, if there was extreme negligence, such as driving while intoxicated, compensation for traffic accidents may be severely curtailed or may be refused. For instance, you can find yourself in a scenario where your insurance company refuses to pay out. Likewise, if the infraction is a somewhat less serious driving infraction and you are less intoxicated, your insurance company may decide to reduce your payout. Hilgender does stress that each insurance claim is reviewed individually, though. Nearly all of the hundreds of claims that Tapiola Insurance has received in recent years regarding e-scooter incidents from optional accident insurance have been paid out. Authorities or other sources, such medical records, are typically the first to know if a driver was operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Tapiola Insurance's analysis reveals that almost 25% of e-scooter incidents that happened last year involved drivers who were intoxicated, based on HUS figures. The legal limit for serious drunk driving is 1.2, although the average blood alcohol content (BAC) of a drunk driver is 1.5. Early in June, the updated Motor Liability Insurance Act will go into force. Accordingly, if an electric motorcycle weighs more than 25 kilograms or travels faster than 25 kilometers per hour, private individuals must also obtain insurance. Insurance payouts are frequently connected to medical expenses, the majority of which stem from accidents and falls. The restrictions stated that they hurt the driver's head, face, and upper body. However, motorbike liability insurance only pays for the driver's medical expenses in the event of an accident involving a rented e-scooter. It does not provide compensation for any potential injuries. Leave. Thus, you should also consider voluntary personal insurance, like disability or accident insurance, in addition to motorbike liability insurance. If insurance company's personal insurance product manager, Merva Vavalainen, states that in recent years, IF's private clients have reported between 100 and 200 personal injuries sustained while riding electric scooters annually on average. The numbers are nearly identical to those of the Lahi Tapiola insurance business. However, compared to earlier times, the number of complaints resulting from e-scooter accidents has somewhat dropped, says Sari Lakso, a complaint services specialist. Restrictions on usage, like lower speeds in the Helsinki urban region and prohibitions on weekend night rentals, he claimed, have affected this. Nonetheless, the frequency of dental and mandibular injuries declined at a different pace, staying rather constant.